Well, hello everyone. It's nice to have you with me once again. Today, I'm going to visit a place in southern Taiwan in the city of Kaohsiung. And it's something that if you're a geek or a nerd, you probably would like. It's a railway museum, but not a normal railway museum, as you would get with all kinds of rolling stock and everything else. This is a museum that was set up a few years ago called the Hamasen Museum of Taiwan Railway. And it is a model museum of all kinds of trains, showing the history of the railway in Taiwan with all different kinds of rolling stock. It is quite interesting. They do, however, have this is of course what you're seeing right now is at the entrance where they show some of Taiwan's rolling stock. Here are some Stirling engines, which are not steam but kind of work in more or less different principle. A mock-up of an old ticket booth that you'd find in Taiwan, and just some general information. Inside the museum itself, they do have one steam engine, and it's in an area where if you're with children or you bring your family, you can actually get on this kind of a bicycle thing, move it up and down the tracks, and then go and switch the points to switch the track. Quite interesting, actually. I went on the day that there was nobody there. It was a weekday. It was, and they just opened. Most people will show up there later on in the afternoon. I wanted to go early when there was nobody there, just to have a better look at it without the crowds of people. So this is before you go into the model railway area. That's one of Taiwan's old rolling stocks. Musical railway. Well, this is just some Taiwan recordings from the 1930s and 40s of songs written about the railway in Taiwan. Now, this is the passageway into the model zone, and it's a really, really big space, as you can probably see. And what's interesting is all these landscapes and cityscapes that they put in are of cities in Taiwan, just quite miniature. And there are running trains on them. And somebody said to me one time when I was showing them just some of the video, they said, "Why are the trains running so slow?" Well, actually, they're not. It's to scale. I mean, you're not going to run a train super fast on a scale model, because it wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, quite well done, actually. And it's interesting because every couple of minutes it goes from daylight to nighttime inside. So the daylight, like you see now, and then it goes to nighttime, and then you see all the lights coming on in the streets and the buildings and everything else. They did a really, really amazing job. I know it took them almost a year to build this whole thing. Even modern railways, like this is Taiwan's high-speed rail, which runs at the moment on the west coast of Taiwan from north to south. They are planning to extend the high-speed rail, and that should be interesting, to the east coast of Taiwan. Of course, the balloons do go up and down. You don't see it right now. They only go up and down every so often. But just really, it's a fun way just to go for a little bit and spend a little bit of time. Like I said, they've done an absolutely fantastic job. When you leave the Modern Railway Museum, you can take this little train that they have that goes around the yard and around the museum itself. It's all included in the ticket price. The woman at the museum told me that on the weekends and on busy holidays, people wait up to an hour for it. I mean, it's a little bit silly, especially if you're an adult. As you can see, there's more adults on it than children. I suppose it's interesting. I'm not going to sit on something like that, but I think it's an interesting activity. Now, this area, which is the pier area of Kaohsiung, at one time was a very, very busy harbor, and it was also used for a very long time by the U.S. Navy. This is prior to 1979. So you see a lot of remnants of that left over, and then a few years ago they decided to completely redo it. So it's a nice cultural area. They have music festivals there, and a lot of cafes, a lot of restaurants, a lot of bookshops, and many different shops and everything. It is quite interesting. Once you leave the museum, right next to it is where the train yard used to be. They have some rolling stock there, and occasionally they do run them. So do go and check it out. I'll put the address at the end of the video and a link to the site. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little short look at the Railway Museum in Kaohsiung. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.